Did you take my business credit card? I held my phone across the kitchen table toward my sister, Kayla. Nearly $4,800 in charges filled the screen: clothes, beauty products, restaurants, even a weekend hotel. Kayla barely looked at it. I borrowed it. Borrowed it, I stared at her. That card pays for my business supplies. My mother, Denise, walked into the kitchen and immediately frowned at me. Tera, lower your voice. Mom, she spent almost $5,000 that wasn't hers. Kayla shrugged. I was going to pay it back eventually. Eventually. I was 26, running a growing event decoration business, and that card covered inventory, transportation, client deposits, and supplies for events I had already been paid to deliver. Give me the card. Mom stepped between us. Your sister did nothing wrong. You're just creating drama. For once, I didn't back down. And that was when Mom pointed toward the hallway. If money matters more than your family, pack your things and leave. The kitchen went completely quiet. I looked at Kayla, expecting her to say something. Anything. She simply folded her arms. Mom, you're kicking me out because she used my credit card without permission. I'm kicking you out because I'm tired of the problems you create in this house. That sentence hurt more than the money. I had spent years avoiding arguments with Mom. I was living there temporarily while saving for my own apartment, and whenever Kayla crossed a line, I was usually the one expected to let it go. Not this time. 20 minutes later, I carried 2 bags outside. Mom didn't stop me. Kayla watched from behind the living room window. I put everything into my car, climbed behind the wheel, and shut the door. My hands were shaking as I opened my banking app again. I needed to see exactly how much available credit Kayla had left me before my upcoming events. Then a notification appeared. Purchase attempted. I stared at the timestamp. 5 minutes ago. My eyes moved toward the house. Kayla had told me she'd already returned the card. So if the card was supposedly back where it belonged, how had someone just tried to use it again? Maya opened her apartment door, saw the 2 bags beside me, and immediately moved aside. What happened? My mother kicked me out. Her face changed. For what? I held up my phone. For asking why Kayla spent almost $5,000 on my business card. That night, sitting at Maya's dining table, I finally had something I hadn't had in Mom's kitchen: silence. No one defending Kayla. No one telling me I was dramatic. I opened every transaction one by one. And the dates bothered me. Some charges went back weeks. Then little moments started coming back. Kayla asking me, does business credit work differently from a normal card? Kayla walking into my room one afternoon claiming she needed my phone charger. And my wallet sitting strangely on my desk afterward. I had noticed it. I just hadn't questioned it. I called Kayla. She answered after several rings. What now, Tera? Someone tried using my card again after I left. Silence. I leaned forward. How? I don't know. You said you returned it. I did. Then how did another purchase happen? Kayla's voice sharpened. Why are you interrogating me? You can cancel it if you're that upset. I stopped. I had never told Kayla I was considering canceling anything. Why would I need to cancel it, Kayla? She hung up. I stared at the phone for a second, then stopped trying to get answers from her. I called the card issuer. I froze the account, documented every charge I didn't recognize, changed the passwords connected to my business accounts, and began taking screenshots. The deeper I looked, the worse it became. This wasn't one shopping spree. The transactions stretched across several weeks. Kayla hadn't simply grabbed my card once. I started wondering whether she'd copied the information. But one question still mattered. Where was the physical card? By morning, I knew there was only one way to find out. Mom had specifically told me not to come back. I picked up my car keys anyway. And while Denise and Kayla were both away, I drove straight back to my mother's house. My key still worked. I stood inside Mom's doorway for a second, listening. Nothing. I wasn't there for my television, furniture, old clothes, or anything Mom could accuse me of taking. I wanted one thing. My business credit card. I walked directly to Kayla's room. My first instinct was to search everywhere, but I stopped myself. I needed proof, not another argument about what belonged to whom. I opened the drawer beneath her dresser mirror. Cosmetics. Receipts. Shopping bags. Then I saw it. My business credit card. Unbelievable. It was tucked underneath several receipts. I pulled those out too. The store names matched transactions I had disputed the night before. I photographed the card exactly where I found it. Then I photographed the receipts beside it. I took only my card and headed outside. The moment I reached my car, another vehicle pulled into the driveway. Mom. Kayla was sitting beside her. "What are you doing here?" Mom demanded as she climbed out. "I came for something that belongs to me. I told you to leave this house." An aunt who had arrived to visit slowed near the driveway. Across the street, a neighbor looked over. Kayla raised her voice. "She can't stand that I have anything. She thinks because she has a business, she gets to control everybody." Normally, I would have defended myself. Instead, I reached into my pocket. "Then explain why this was hidden in your drawer." I held up the card. Kayla stopped talking. Mom looked between us. "Well, you have it now," she said, "so it's finished." "No, Mom, it isn't." Her expression tightened. "There was another online purchase attempt after you kicked me out." I pointed toward the card. While this was sitting inside Kayla's drawer. Kayla's face changed. I put the card back into my pocket and opened my car door. I wasn't going to tell either of them what I'd already done with the bank. Not yet. As I climbed inside, Kayla suddenly rushed toward the driveway. "You better not have reported those charges." I looked back at her. That was the first time Kayla sounded afraid. "You better not have reported those charges." Kayla's words stayed with me long after I drove away. She hadn't asked whether I reported them. She was worried that I had. Back at Maya's apartment, I spread everything across the dining table. Screenshots, transaction dates, photographs of the card in Kayla's drawer, and pictures of the matching receipts. Then I started comparing dates. One charge happened while I was decorating a client's event across town. Another appeared during a delivery. Several others were online purchases. That was when the pattern became impossible to ignore. Kayla hadn't needed the physical card every time. She had the information saved somewhere. I continued cooperating with the card issuer's fraud review and sent over the information they requested. Then another purchase attempt appeared. DCLND. The frozen account had stopped it. My phone immediately started ringing. "Kayla." I ignored it. She called again. Then Mom began texting. "Call your sister." Another message arrived. "We can fix this privately." I typed one response. "I'm not accepting charges I didn't authorize." Then I stopped replying. For the first time, Kayla wasn't waiting for me to forgive her. She was waiting to learn what the financial consequences would be. And Mom couldn't make them disappear by ordering me out of her house. I opened the automatic transfer I had been sending Mom every month to help with household expenses while I lived there. I canceled it. I wasn't living there anymore. And I wasn't going to finance a household where my business money could be taken and I would be punished for objecting. Later that afternoon, an update arrived. The disputed transactions were officially under review. I read the confirmation twice. Then my phone rang again. "Mom." I almost let it go unanswered, but something made me pick up. "Hello." There was no anger in her voice this time, just a long silence. Then she interrupted, before I could say anything else. Tera, Kayla finally told me what she did. I didn't go back to Mom's house. If Denise and Kayla wanted to talk, we were meeting somewhere neutral. So 2 days later, I sat across from them at a quiet cafe. Mom kept her hands wrapped around a coffee cup. Kayla barely looked at me. "Tell her," Mom said. Kayla stared at the table. "Kayla." "Fine." She finally looked up. "Weeks ago, when you were showering, I went into your room." I said nothing. "I took the card out of your wallet and photographed it. Both sides." Kayla admitted she'd saved the information to several online shopping accounts. That was how purchases kept appearing even when the physical card wasn't in her hand. Later, she took the actual card again because she wanted to make purchases in person. "So when you said you borrowed it," I lied. "And after Mom kicked me out." Kayla swallowed. "I tried buying something online." That explained everything. The purchase attempt I'd seen from my car hadn't required the physical card at all. Kayla already had its information saved. "Why?" Mom asked quietly. Kayla looked irritated more than confused. "I thought Tera would get mad and then let it go." Mom's eyes narrowed. "You let me throw your sister out." Kayla looked away. "You always defend me." The words landed harder than anything I could have said. Mom stared at her. Then she looked at me. "Tera, I'm sorry. I waited. I should never have kicked you out. Come home." "No." Her face fell. "I appreciate the apology, Mom, but being invited back doesn't erase why you threw me out." The card issuer continued reviewing the disputed purchases using the transaction records and documentation I'd preserved. Kayla could no longer pretend the spending was just a misunderstanding. She had to deal with repayment for the unauthorized purchases instead of leaving that debt attached to my business. I refused to pay for any of it. And the story Kayla had been telling relatives, that I'd caused a huge family fight over a few harmless purchases, collapsed once they learned how much she'd actually spent. Mom faced consequences too. The monthly household contribution I'd been making stopped when she kicked me out. When she brought it up later, my answer was simple. I don't live there anymore. There was nothing to debate. My business would never again be treated like a family wallet. Several weeks later, I signed the lease on a modest apartment. It wasn't huge. There were still boxes against the walls when I slept there the first night. But the key in my hand belonged to a home nobody could threaten to take away because I refused to accept mistreatment. My replacement business card stayed locked somewhere only I could access. I changed my business credentials, strengthened my account security, and separated important financial information from anything my family could reach. Most importantly, my upcoming events went ahead. The disaster I'd feared never happened. Mom and I eventually started speaking again, slowly, but reconciliation came with boundaries. Kayla had no access to my business accounts, cards, workspace, or financial information. I didn't cut my family off for revenge. I simply stopped giving them the power to punish me for protecting myself. The strangest part was realizing what I'd actually gone back to Mom's house to retrieve. I thought it was just a credit card. It wasn't. Tera went back to her mother's house for one card, but when she walked out with it, she also left behind the family rule that had taught everyone her boundaries could be ignored.